What's up, everybody? It's Tyler. We're here with the Putback. I was going to say Fifth Down Territory because I do that every single Tuesday. But it's Friday. It's 7:30, and we're here to talk about basketball, not football. So we're here on the Putback with Jack McKinnon, Dravin Murray, sponsored by Stadium Rant. Go check that out, stadiumrant.com. Go check out our YouTube at Stadium Rant and our socials at Stadium Rant HQ. So we're here today. Last week, the crew kind of did a little deep dive on the off season, so the draft and a couple of their favorite off season moves that their teams made. This week, we are going to talk about the ramifications of those types of moves and how they can try and knock off current NBA champion Boston Celtics. I know that Dovetsky is a Heat fan. Heat fans can get bent. I know that Dravin is a Knicks fan. Knicks fans can get bent. Jack, you're a Kings fan. We have no beef.
You guys are irrelevant. It's okay.
Really well.
Yeah.
So Dravin, how would you start here? Who's your? We could do each like three teams. We can each do three teams that we think they're going to knock the Celtics off. Start with the most likely one. Start with one.
I think number one, and I think it's like Space Jam, because I think once the Bucks get their power back from the Monstars, they'll be able to compete again. Let's not forget who Giannis Antetokounmpo is. Giannis Antetokounmpo, for a long time, before Nikola Jokic, for probably about 2 years. I'm saying that like it's a long time. Before Nikola Jokic should have been a three-peat MVP. Let's be real. Probably 4, but that's besides that. Giannis Antetokounmpo was the best player in the NBA for a short span. Giannis Antetokounmpo can still be a top 3 player in the NBA. If he starts playing like that again, I see no reason why the Bucks couldn't knock out the Celtics, if anyone can. Then again, if anyone else can, it's my guy right behind me here, Jalen Brunson. Because Madison Square Garden is the only place with enough aura to take down Jason Tatum's corny. I don't know if I want to say that. So we're just going to say his corny ass. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That works. That's fine.
We're done. We're sick of him. If anyone can take him down, it's my glorious king right here. I don't know. It's flipped. I can't point. And then finally, if we're going in the West, I think the Nuggets could do it. Because let's just be real. I think it's likely, because I'm a realistic fan, unlike all Celtics fans ever. I know realisticness in the NBA. Mm-hmm. If the Celtics make it through again, if anyone can take them down, I could see it being very well the Nuggets, especially with the veteran acquisition and Russell Westbrook, who has been to 1 finals, technically. He's been to 1 in 2012. Hasn't been back in 12 years. 13th year is the lucky charm.
The first point about Giannis, yeah, Giannis is a good player. He only has one more win than Jason Tatum in head-to-head. They're 9-10. He has one more win. Tatum has beat him in 2 series as well when healthy. Then kind of moving on to your Knicks point, I gotta see it all come together. They have a great team. They have a lot of depth. Gotta see it all come together. And even then, I have a hard time putting all my faith in an undersized guard who isn't the best defender.
Sure. I think you say that because obviously I understand the skepticism. You know, we talked about it last week here on the Putback about the heavy cost that the Knicks put in for Mikal Bridges. But that idea of chemistry and that idea of trusting your guys is so important now. It's why the Nuggets won a championship. Instead of going out and getting a 3rd star, they had Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I think he's in Orlando now.
That's a big loss for them.
That does suck. He's one of the best 3-and-D guys still in the NBA. Until Bronny James in 15 years is able to put up 10 and 2 steals a game, I'm so excited.
I don't even want to talk about Bronny James. Let's not mention him again on this show. Well, I am on it. Please, that'd be great.
It's just that idea, but I think we forget how much hatred plays a role in sports. Hatred can make the best athletes become gods. Personally, he's my number 2, but Michael Jordan just seemed like he was angry at everyone every time he played any team. He just seemed like
that was a different era, though. I feel like now, yeah, you have to be angry. But who really has a massive rivalry? All these guys in the NBA are buddies. Like no matter how much, like I mean, unless you're like teammates with Draymond Green getting punched in the face. Other than that, like they're all like friends. And the thing with the Knicks too that worries me is like Tom Thibodeau is a great coach. He's like one of those guys who like I would like to have as one of my coaches, you know what I mean, for one of my sports teams. But he does play people a little too much. And I think we kind of saw the ramifications of that when the entire Knicks roster was banged up and they couldn't beat the Indiana Pacers. They beat the 76ers, but that's because Joel Embiid sucks too.
Yeah, Joel Embiid is awful. That is one thing everybody on this show can agree on permanently. We all hate.
Chill on that, bro. You said he's awful.
Yeah,
he's overrated.
I like him.
Web Embiid, Joel Web Embiid. When he, I'll take. Doesn't matter if he plays 40 games a year, averages 36 points per game in the regular season, and then he puts up 20 points per game and literally drags down opposing players who block him in the playoffs. Doesn't mean anything, bro. Doesn't mean a damn thing.
I just think he's one of the best regular season players that you could find, but I just don't think you're gonna win a championship with him as your best player. He seems to me like more like a Kristaps Porzingis type of player who listen. Back in the day before he was injured, he was the first type of unicorn. But now that he's a third like role scorer type of player, it's much better for the team and for him. He doesn't have to carry the weight of all that. Like Joel Embiid has one of the highest usage ratings in the league. And they overuse him, especially in the first half of games. I've seen it a million times. And then by the time you get into the fourth quarter, he's gassed and like can't do as much. He isn't as effective.
But I mean, he gets 50 breaks a game at the free throw line because he just yells and cries at the referees until he gets a free throw because he's so tired. He's literally a toddler. And when toddlers get tired, they start screaming and crying and banging their hands on the floor, just like Joel Embiid.
I want you to say that to his face though next time.
I will, absolutely. What's the 7 foot? What's the 7 foot?
I don't think he'll even be able to hear you.
Yeah, I know. I'll have to do it like this. Hey, you suck, but I'll get there. It's okay. It'll get there in 2 to 3 business days.
Yeah.
Jack, who are your 3 teams that you think could realistically dethrone the Celtics?
Yeah, you touched on the Bucks. I mean, obviously last year Chris Middleton was out for quite a while before he got his rhythm back. So a full year of healthy Chris Middleton's going to be, amazing for them. He's still one of the more underrated players in the league, despite his big ass contract. And exactly, Giannis is Giannis. We're not going to rule out a top 3 player in the world. And Damian Lillard, again, got disrespected like crazy last year. But he's another one of those guys that's just, he's clutch. He scores 30 a game whenever he wants. And then they've still got Bobby Portis. Brook Lopez is getting old, but I actually love their offseason too. They don't make any big moves. They don't have much money, but bringing in DeLon Wright off the bench is going to be main for them. Perimeter defense.
They drafted AJ Johnson, right?
They drafted AJ Johnson. He's probably not going to.
I really like that pick. He's raw, but he has so much talent. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely a talented player, but probably won't be making the rotation this year. Who else did they bring in? They brought in another wing, Taurean Prince from the Lakers. Taurean Prince, again, he got clowned, but that's realistically because he was on the Lakers. He actually
because Darvin Ham is his coach, and that's why he's on the Bucks now. Because Darvin Ham went back to the Bucks.
He must love some Darvin Ham. But yeah, another 3-and-D guy, Taurean Prince, and they brought in someone else too that I'm forgetting. But yeah, I actually did like their offseason. So yeah, the Bucks would be my number 1. After that, I only had really 3 teams that I thought were capable. But to be honest, I don't think anyone's capable. At the end of the day, the Celtics are insanely good and deep. It's ridiculous.
Don't boost his ego, Jack.
We're not boosting egos. We're being realistic here. Okay, yeah. That is the best team, talent-wise, I've seen in a long time. But my other 2 teams were Denver, who you touched on, and kind of. Again, Jokic is like Giannis, one of those best guys in the world. Again, they lost KCP, brought in Russell Westbrook. It's
Don't
okay.
like,
But
I don't love that.
That's just
I
a
don't.
big loss
yeah,
in the shooting department, and that the biggest weapon you have is Jokic. If you're not letting him score, he's passing it out, and that guy can shoot it. Westbrook
Mhm.
can't shoot. There's a reason his nickname was Westbrook for so long.
Well, the other thing with Westbrook is the only time he's ever been truly, truly successful is when he's been a high usage ball dominant guard who does all of the things that Jokic does just in like a 6'5" body. You know what I mean?
Right. But that being said, even last year with the Clippers, when he was playing 20 minutes off the bench, he was good in those
Yeah,
spurts.
He's really efficient.
He played really well with Zubac, and I think him playing with Jokic is going to be just 10 times better. Jokic and him passing the ball to each other is going to be sick. Russell Westbrook's not a shooter, but Aaron Gordon is not a shooter either. But he thrives with Jokic because he cuts so well. And
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook was doing that last year too. So that's something he can do at the least. Anyway, my third team was OKC because no one touched on OKC. Another year of experience for that team is going to be mean. Shea's one of those guys too now, honestly. One of those top guys in the world. So it's another team. I'd still take the Celtics over any of those teams at this point, but if there were going to be a team, it would be one of those three, I'd say.
Word. So my three are a little different. I do have OKC as the number one team. I think the additions of Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso, with not losing anybody and keeping that core together, they have depth, they have shooting, they have playmaking. They have that, like, again, that top five guy. They have a supporting member who should be able to see another big leap in Jalen Williams. The other two teams, the second team would be the Pacers. Actually, I thought they had a good offseason. I think that team is dangerous. I really do. They can score with anybody. They I honestly thought that even though they got swept, that was the toughest 4 games that the Celtics played during the playoffs, because they rolled the Heat. They rolled the Cavs, and they pretty much dominated the Mavericks throughout most of those games. And the Pacers were just bad coaching towards the end of game 1. They got blown out game 2. Game 3, they were up 22, ended up losing by that last second steal. And then game 4, they fell apart. But that very easily could have been a 2-2 series heading into game 5. So I just think that another year, if Halliburton stays healthy, Pascal Siakam is a really, really good fit for that team. Miles Turner's streaky, but if you get him on the right night and he's playing well, like, he's a very dangerous shooter at 7 feet. And they have Andrew Nebhard, who honestly, man, like, he showed a real step up in class when they lost Halliburton. So I if he can continue that kind of path, he actually reminds me of your boy Dravin, Jalen Brunson, a little bit. He kind of has that kind of vibe to him. He's not that player yet, but he has that sort of game that you're like, oh wow, I haven't really seen you before. Now I'm watching you do it with usage on a high stage, and you're playing really well. So
I don't think it's Nemhard. I could be wrong. Is he the guy who shot like over 12 and then hit the game winner against us in Indy? Who was that?
against you, I was gonna say he shot very efficiently during that whole
No,
series.
there was like a game versus the Knicks where like one of
That might have
Indiana's
been, the dude that they got from us in the
Aaron Neesmith?
yes,
Neesmith.
Smith.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was him.
He's
Yeah.
a good player too. They got him from us during the Malcolm Brogdon trade.
Yeah.
Forgot about Malcolm Brock. That's a name we'll say in 10 years when we're just throwing out random role players.
We were so close to winning a ring with him, and like he would have been like not immortalized, kind of, but like we would have treated him like we're treating Drew Holiday now if he had won that year.
Yeah. Shout out 6 Man of the Year winner Malcolm Brogdon. But did you have one more? You said the Thunder, the Pacers.
The third team is the Celtics. The only team that can beat the Celtics is the Celtics. They can let all this offseason bullshit about Derek White and Team USA and Jaylen Brown get to their heads. They could try and force Porzingis to come back, hurt himself again. They could kind of take it easy because now they already won. There are numerous possibilities that the Celtics are the only team that can really beat themselves. As far as they do everything that a team's supposed to do in the modern NBA. Everybody on their team can shoot and defend. Everybody on their team can pretty much handle the ball, make plays, and rebound. Like there's not a person on their starting lineup that is like a liability on pretty much any part of the court. And then they have Peyton Pritchard, who's kind of like a spark plug, not a fantastic player, but like he's that dude you're like, how is he scoring on me? Like, he's like that type of guy. Then you have Hauser, who actually is one of the better 3-point shooters in the league, and Al Horford's still coming off the bench. Their big man depth is a little suspect. I would have liked
geriatric. I wouldn't bank on him for much longer. He's the Philly killer for now, but I don't know how much longer.
Homies have been saying that since he was like 31. Now he's
38 though.
No, he's 36, I think.
He might be 37. But...
he's in between the 36 and 38.
Yeah.
But again,
we know where he's at.
Yeah, absolutely. But as the 8th man off the bench, like that's not bad to have. I mean, he's still doing everything that you could ask for. So
he turned 38 in June.
You're right. There you go. Homie's 38, and he still had big games in the playoffs.
Yeah, he turned 38 before that final series.
Yeah, and thank God we can take him off the list of the most games played ever without an NBA championship win. Now he was like second on that list. That's like never the list you want to like be on.
I always see those lists, and you know who's on a weirdly high amount of those lists where it's like youngest players to ever average like this amount of points, this amount of rebounds, this amount of assists. Thaddeus Young is always on those lists.
He averaged like a super specific stat. It was like Kobe, LeBron, and Magic. And then Thaddeus Young with like 16.5 points, 5.5 assists, 4.5 rebounds, 1.5 steals.
And like a playoff series. Yeah. But no. I mean, it's going to be hard to beat the Celtics, and I do think it makes sense that the only team that can beat the Celtics is the Celtics. I mean, it's just the Celtics' luck. It's literally the luck of the Irish that you had one of the top 3 coaches in the NBA at the time in Ime Udoka, which I don't know what happened to him in Houston. Brad Stevens, first off.
Well. They're doing well. Don't sleep on Houston next year. They're going to be a good team.
I hope that's the case. I hope that's the case because – look, they have so many dogs like Tari Eason, Jalen Green. They have Fred VanVleet. Yeah, except he can't shoot. Neither of them can shoot. That's the only thing lacking in their games. They're both elite defenders, but
also they have Freddie VanVleet, baby. Homie can shoot the lights out.
Hey, they just dropped the Reed Shipman, bro. That's what he's there for.
That is true, yes. And then we didn't even mention the best player on the team, that being Alperen Şengün, who is Baby Jokic. I released an article on that like a couple months ago. But, I mean, that Rockets team is good. But I'm saying it's the luck of the Celtics that you lose Udoka because Brad Stevens is incredibly smart. And he was like, I'm not dealing with this. Get out.
Yeah.
After that whole allegation thing. And then it just so happens that the next best coach in the NBA, Joe Mazzulla, was he Wichita State's point guard? Regardless, shows up and took you guys to an NBA Finals in his first year. And now he won the finals.
First year we lost to the Heat in Game 7. They were up.
Oh, you're right.
We came back. Then Tatum sprained his ankle in the first 4 minutes of that game in Game 7, and we lost.
Am I thinking of the year? Oh, I think I'm thinking of the year before with Golden State.
Udoka took us. Got fired. First year with Mazzulla. Went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Should have beat the Heat. Couldn't fucking do it. And then this whole thing happened. I wouldn't say best coach in the NBA. I'd put him at 6.
Who do you think is the best coach in the NBA still? That's an interesting question.
Greg Popovich.
I don't think Greg Popovich really cares about coaching anymore.
I think Popovich is hanging out just because he sees the opportunity to say, hey, I coach Wemby. I mean, I don't – I love I mean, I think it has to be Kerr. I love Pop, but Pop.
Well, I'm sorry. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Best coach in the league is Eric Spoelstra. Lock it in.
I would definitely put Eric Spoelstra above Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr,
exactly.
like the top 10 coach.
Top 10? You don't think he's top 10?
Nope.
That's a reach.
I'll put Mike Brown above Steve Kerr. I'll put Mark Daigneault above Steve Kerr.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
This is who's the oh my god, I'm blanking.
Who's out in OKC?
Nick Nurse, I'll put above Steve Kerr.
I'm not putting Nick Nurse above.
No, Steve I wouldn't put Nick Nurse above. No,
that's crazy. Why are we giving Steve Kerr so much flowers?
Because Steve Kerr developed a little new era of basketball.
No, Mark Jackson developed them, and then Steve Kerr took over when they were developed. That's what I'm saying. Anyway.
Well, I mean, like
he kept it together. They won 5. Like, come on. Like he outcoached Ime Udoka during that whole series. I watched it happen.
He outcoached Tyronn Lue.
That's not a massive win.
He
outcoached LeBron James numerous times. Let's put it that way.
He outcoached LeBron James when he was the greatest player. I will die on the hill that 2018 playoff LeBron James is the greatest person to ever touch a basketball. He is the greatest player to ever touch a basketball. 2018 playoff LeBron James is untouchable. He single-handedly dragged that. Rodney Hood, Matthew Dellavedova.
I'll give you that one.
That's insane.
In 2018, we took them to Game 7. Tatum dunked on him with the shortcut. And with like 4 minutes left, and then fixed on him. And dude, I was with like 10 of my friends. We're in like my basement watching it, just freaking out. Like we're up like 5 or 6. Like we're like, okay, this might be it. We might be going. Then LeBron James just took it out and was like, "Yeah, you're not going nowhere, buddy. Not going."
Like back-to-back sit-back freeze and Tatum's face after it.
Yeah, brutal. Everybody goes, why doesn't Tatum have a dog in him? And I'm like, yo, he does, but like it got suppressed a little bit after he got stuffed out by Braun, and then when he got stuffed again by Bam in the bubble, that shit hurted though. That hurted my soul. Like I remember that was not chill. And like I still think to this day, like that gets to him sometimes. But when you see when he plays aggressive, I don't see better players than him when he plays aggressive.
I guess when he remembers he's 6'10" and not Steph Curry.
Yeah,
they are very.
The shooting can be there, but it needs to be like the accent to his game. He needs to be that dude who just cuts to the basket and uses that handle and that strength to just yam on people. And then when people play up or when people back up on him, then that's when you shoot.
Right.
I mean, that's why Jaylen Brown, I think, is such a great complementary piece to him. And I also think it's hurt him a little bit. Brown is not a shooter by any means. I don't think you'll disagree with that. Like, he can shoot it, but he's not a shooter. Like, you don't put him out on the three-point line, tell him go hit threes. What he does is he's an elite. He is like the peak of a 3-and-D player. He's like right there. He's who 3-and-D players want to be, except he slashes instead of shoots threes. He is an elite. He's elite at getting to the rim. He's elite at creating shots, and he's an elite wing defender, except he doesn't really shoot. I think that's kind of where some of Tatum's ideas come from. It's like, oh, it's not going to be him. It's got to be me. And then Drew Holiday's not a prolific shooter. Derek White, outside of that one Heat game where I bet his under and he drew.
You're wrong.
Yeah, Drew Holiday.
All everything that you just said about them not being able to shoot is wrong.
I didn't say they're not able to shoot. I said he's not looking for a 3-point
everybody on that team cannot be left open. Like and also Jaylen Brown hits crazy 3-pointers in people's faces all the time. Like that's not his best. The best part of Jaylen Brown's game is when he's downhill in transition. I agree with you on that. He's one of the best athletes in the NBA. But like to say that he can't shoot is just
I'm not saying that he can shoot. I'm saying he's not looking. He's not pulling up in transition for a 3. Is what I'm saying. He doesn't. If he has an open 3, I think it's just as like he's gonna pull it. But I think it's just as likely if he's not going to pull it, he'll jab, step, drive, and take it for a slam. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he's not looking to shoot. That's not his number one skill, and that's not his number one, drive. That's what I'm saying.
Real quick, though, too, on Drew Holiday, I'm pretty sure he hit threes from the corner at 60% this past year.
Yeah, he was
If I owe Drew Holiday an apology, I'm sorry, Drew Holiday. I will happily apologize.
But you're right that like typically that wasn't his like biggest part of his game. But when he came to the Celtics, everybody was like, "Yo, like this is what we're gonna kind of have to you do on this offense." And he was like, "All right, I can do that." And then he went out and freaking did it. And also, Derek White is streaky, but when he's on,
yeah.
that man's also Derek White has the clutch gene in him. He hits big shots every single time he's on the court. You're like, oh, Derek White has it. We'll be okay. And he just splashes 2 threes in your mouth to go from up 3 to up 9. And you're like, all right, now I feel a lot better. And then he'll go and stuff the shit out of you on the back end too. Even if you're like 7'2", doesn't matter.
If
We can't have that puppy.
That's
true.
Yeah.
The other thing too is that a lot of people are talking about the injuries for people that the Celtics played. Kristaps Porzingis was injured the whole time. He played 3 games. When he is on the court, fully healthy on that team, nobody can beat them. Not a team in the NBA can beat them.
I can agree with that. I think,
especially not in 7 games if they're fully healthy. But the biggest issue is if.
Yeah. I mean, that was the big reason with the Knicks. And I wanted to play the if card, except I knew the second that it was something ridiculous, but when Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, and OG Anunoby shared the court during the regular season, we went 22-3 or something ridiculous like that. And we can play here. We can sit there and play that card where this past season, our rotation would have been something along the lines of Brunson, DiVincenzo, Anunoby, Randall, Hartenstein, or Robinson, and then Hartenstein, Hart, McBride off the bench. That is an elite 8-man that I think would have taken the Celtics to 6. Yeah. I think they would have taken it.
Yeah, cool.
And I mean, I can sit here and say, "Oh, we would have beat the Pacers." That doesn't mean anything. Yeah, we know we would have beat the Pacers. Everyone knows we would have beat the Pacers. The only reason they're saying that is because they know we would have beat the Pacers. There's no point in saying it. Injuries happen to every single team.
Yeah.
I mean, the only players I haven't seen affected by a major injury yet in the NBA is I don't think Nikola Jokic has had a major injury in the last couple of years.
Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown.
That is true. Neither of them
have played the most games out of all those All-Stars.
Also, LeBron though. LeBron, I don't think he has ever had a major injury, and that's why 21 years.
I mean, he missed 30 games at the end of the 2018 season.
Oh, was that his groin thing?
Yeah, with the groin. Yeah.
I don't know if that's major or not, but that was
No, he hasn't had a major injury.
I count it broken days. That's what I'm thinking of.
Right.
Season
50. KD has 3 torn Achilles. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Embiid missed the first 2 years of his career.
Yeah, his knee is chop suey. He's got chop suey knees, and they were like, "Oh, let's go add another dude with chop suey knees for $130 million." Paul George has no cartilage in his knees anymore.
Do I have to tell people OG Anunoby is going to clamp Paul George? OG Anunoby is pound for pound probably the best defender in the NBA. He can do absolutely everything you want in a defender. He can do perimeter, he can do paint, he can steal, he can block, he can rebound.
Pound for pound, the best defender in the NBA is probably LeBron James still. Dude, when he wants to play defense,
he gets serious. Yeah,
I don't think you're stopping him as a wing player. Maybe
no.
Jokic gets him decent amount. I will say, I guess.
Wait, as a defender?
No. When LeBron is defending Jokic.
Oh, okay.
Jokic gets the better of him a good amount. I'd say out of people who have the game to be able to hurt him on defense, he's probably the top person there. Jack, you look like you want to defute this point.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's 39. He just doesn't have the foot speed anymore. He's fast still, don't get me wrong, but if we're talking pound for pound, size don't matter. It's probably Drew Holiday, realistically.
I see that.
OG Anunoby is a good shot too, to be fair.
Yeah. But I'd like to put Jaylen Brown up there too honestly.
That was my other thought. That's who I thought you were going to come at me with. Pound for pound, yeah, but I think like just across, I think Anunoby kind of proved that he was one of the best.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't necessarily, he's not going to get you, he's not going to show up with 3 steals, 2 blocks a game, but he's going to have like steal worthy plays and block worthy plays that just don't count as it. And that's why but yeah, I don't know. It's definitely gonna be interesting to see what the Knicks do.
So on kind of tailing off this, let's talk about some dark horse candidates that could make some noise, like a team like this year's Pacers.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go first real quick, and I think Jack will probably want to go after me because I think the team is his Kings. I think the Sacramento Kings are that team. I really do. I think that they can make some noise in the West. They were 1/4 away from beating the Warriors the year they beat us in the chip, and then last year they just had it was just like an okay year, but like they dealt with a lot of injuries. But pairing De'Aaron Fox with DeMar DeRozan and Demonis Sabonis, like that gives you like a legitimate scoring threat at each level of the field, or not the field, the court. Sabonis can do it all. He can be your big man, kind of like unicorn type player. De'Aaron Fox is that dude. They signed Malik Monk, who's a really good 3-and-D guy. I just think that nobody's going to talk about them, and they're going to have a really, really solid season and end up like, I don't know, 4th in the West, give or take, and like maybe win a game or a series or two, like depending on their matchups. Jack, what do you think? You know that team better than I do.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. I do like what the Kings did this offseason, but we still haven't addressed like our main issues, which is 3-point shooting and defense.
Mm-hmm.
Which, as much as I love DeMar DeRozan, he is not good at either of those things.
Yeah.
Our best defenders are Keegan Murray and like Keon Ellis. And yeah, unfortunately, none of our stars except De'Aaron can like defend or shoot, and De'Aaron kind of can shoot.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to playoffs, like we might be a good regular season team. I could be like a 4 or 5 seed. But when it comes to playoffs, because the West is so stacked, you're going to be going against a team like the Pelicans or the Lakers. We can beat the Lakers, but any of those teams, even like the Rockets, they're all getting better. We got better too, but it's hard to differentiate them, especially when we're missing the 2 like biggest keys of basketball in this day and age, which is 3-point shooting and defense. Malik Monk is main. I love Malik Monk. I'm so happy we re-signed him, but another guy can't defend. 3-point shooting is obviously great, but I think if the Kings are going to be like one of the better teams in the league, if they're going to be like a conference finals type team, then Keegan Murray needs to honestly be like the second best offensive player on this team. He needs to average 20 points per game and shoot 45%. Well, not 45, 40% from free.
There you go. Slow it down there, Oz.
Yeah, 45 is crazy. 40% from free on 20 points per game. And that is a jump he could take, but yeah, it's like a lot of the teams that made big moves this offseason. We have to see how it works first, how they all fit together before I can, have any real confidence in them.
So who do you think is that team then? The dark horse team?
It's tough, and like I said, there's not many teams I could really see beating the Celtics, but I did just touch on them, the Pelicans. They're another team that has struggled to stay healthy, but I really like their team.
The DeJounte Murray acquisition for Larry Nance. You got him for Larry Nance and some draft picks. That's like a bucket of scrum that you picked off the street. You're like, here you go, buddy. Take that.
That's like the craziest part about trades nowadays is if a superstar says, I don't want to be here anymore, trade me right now, I'm just going to sit out the season, you go from having this much leverage to this much. You can't do anything anymore. He's not going to play for you. So guess what? You get Larry Nance Jr., known dunk contest participant, and a couple first-round picks. And that's it for a guy who can be an all-star level 3-and-D player. And it's unfortunate. I was going to bring up the Pelicans too. That was my team as well.
It cost them 5 firsts to acquire DeJounte Murray. Then they traded him for 2 firsts and Larry Nance, who's bad.
I think there's only 1 pick too and 1 swap, which is not really.
That's even worse.
Is Popovich the GM in San Antonio?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have to imagine that he has a fair amount of say. Hey,
I guess the dog didn't like us bringing up Popovich.
no, he likes to try and grab napkins and stupid shit. So trying to make sure he doesn't swallow anything. Popovich, Spurs, yeah, back on track. Sorry, guys.
But no, if we want to talk about Popovich, and I was thinking about it when we brought up like how good the Celtics were, because Derek White, and people forget about it. Derek White was developed by Greg Popovich. Same thing with Patty.
That's why he's clutch.
Because like if we want to count this towards his argument, it's hard to say, like, especially as terms of like developing guys who go on to do like great things and other really like consistent like
DeJounte Murray.
Exactly. Except he didn't really do much better. But like I think I would take San Antonio Murray over Atlanta Murray. Am I wrong?
Probably the last year of San Antonio.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, like right when he had when he was good enough to get traded for 5 first-round picks. I mean, he was elite. He was an elite guard who could guard.
Yeah, but he was still developed by Popovich. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense fell off a little bit when he.
He used to be like the guy you can put on their star point guard, and he can do probably tier 2.
I feel like he felt all the weight of the entire Atlanta Hawks defense on his shoulders. Yeah. He needs to be able to play on a team that has other defenders, and he can still be that guy, but not have to feel like he has to do everything defensively.
Well,
that could be a reason.
Well, I mean, now he's got notoriously good defenders: Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Jonas Valanciunas backing him up. Zion has,
but Valanciunas is in Washington now. First of all,
he? Oh,
yeah, he signed off with the Wizards, but he's got Herb Jones.
That is Herb Jones. Yes, cool. Herb Jones. Herb Jones. That is true. Fair enough. But Zion also gets he gets 3 blocks a year that get posted all over Bleacher Report and everything. I see it twice a year. I see his block against Virginia in college where DeAndre Hunter is in the corner and he jumps out and sends it back into the crowd. He's gonna have a couple of those, but he's not a real defender. I don't see him going toe to toe with the best small forwards or power forwards. I don't think he's tall enough to guard the real power forwards. I don't think he's tall enough to guard a Giannis or I don't know. I'm trying to think of elite power forwards, but there's nobody plays power forward anymore. And then he's not slim enough and fast enough to guard elite small forwards. He couldn't guard a Kevin Durant. That's his issue. But I really like the Pelicans. Outside of all the bashing I just did to them, they're my team.
The offensively, they're very dangerous. Especially with you have CJ and DeJounte Murray as your front court. And your wings are Ingram and Zion. And
who's their center now, though?
Is it Herb?
That is the question.
Herb is 6'9", and he's skinny. He couldn't play center, I don't think.
He's 6'0".
Is it Jackson Hayes?
I don't think Jackson Hayes is on their team either.
Did he get traded to the Lakers? Did I make that up?
He was in the Lakers last year, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So center is still a question for them.
They drafted that rookie. With this, I forget his name.
Yves Missy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy right there. Zion Williamson's also day-to-day in the middle of summer. So
he's literally constantly day-to-day. That's his forever assessment.
Credit where it's due. We also left out Trey Murphy, who is an elite defender. Mm-hmm. Jose Alvarado, who has that one move that he just sneaks up on a defender from behind them, but he's a little bit small.
He's like the Peyton Pritchard of that team, and that you need those dudes. You need that 7th, 8th dude off the bench who can come be that spark plug. Typically, it's a guard.
Then they got Jordan Hawkins.
Jordan Hawkins is tough
from UConn. when he was like their elite shooter, and former Celtic legend Daniel Tice.
He'll
That's
probably
what he's doing.
That pissed me off that Tice went there. We were trying to get him back because I would love Daniel Tice as like a third rotational center. He can play the 3-and-D role as a big man. Not really so much defensively on the arc, but he has a little bit of a shot. He can play outside. He does well inside. He's just a good body to have.
I'm missing Luke Cornett.
Cornette's just like with the way they play, he just scares me the whole time. He looks like he's walking around in like swamp mud. He can't move.
But he has the most revolutionary defensive tactic in the NBA.
All right. Yep.
Nobody's figured out how to crack the code yet. Luke Cornett is
you
genius.
just dunk it on his face, and then he's just like, "Damn, I need to go back to the bench." That was not chill. So how are we feeling on like a team like, I don't know, let's say like Memphis? How down are we on Memphis?
We talked about Zach Edey last week. We talked about Edey last week about him being like the rookie of the year favorite or something like that.
I think that was Dovensky, right?
Yeah, he brought it up like, oh no, he thought he should have been the number 1 pick. That's what it was. He thought Edey should have been the number 1 pick. And granted, that does form a formidable paint duo, but I don't know if I trust Ja Guns Blazing Morant, Desmond, I disappear in big games Bane, and then Jaren Jackson.
What about Marcus? I want it all to be about me smart.
I mean, is he going to start at the 2 and then Bane at the 3? Jaren Jackson Jr. at the 4? Granted, Smart is like smart.
They should have a really good defensive unit. Like
that's
they
what I'm
should
saying. Smart Jackson
anybody.
That's good defensively. But then who do they have off the bench? So Kyle Anderson still? Is he there?
No, Kyle Anderson went to the Warriors this year.
He's on the Warriors now. Wow. Oh my god. I'm getting embarrassed today.
Yeah, dude. Stop being a casual. Come on. You gotta look things up before you say them if you don't know what you're saying.
I know.
I actually have no idea who was on the Memphis bench today.
No, you're right. I even did an article about all the teams and what they should do in their off seasons and like looked at everybody's roster. I'm drawing a blank on the bench Memphis Grizzlies. But realistically, if they stay with their heads on their shoulders and not doing dumb shit and stay healthy, they should have a better than average squad. No, like Jack, what do you think?
Problem was the West, like I was saying before. I just dropped the article on this too. There are 12 teams in the West that are looking to make the playoffs this year, and only 8 of them are going to make it. That's why I'm not sold on the Kings. Like the Kings could be the 4 seed, they could be the 9 seed. So and Memphis are one of those teams too, because we've seen them be the 2 seed when Ja was healthy, when they lost to the Warriors in 2022 in the second round. But yeah, it's hard to say with the West. Unfortunately, it could be a team to look out for. But
I'm sorry, Jack. I promise I'm not laughing at you. It just looked like Tyler's dog is digging in his cushions.
Yeah, he's literally just like trying to dig a hole underneath me.
But no, I 100% agree with you, Jack. We've seen what this team can do, and I looked it up, and we were talking about Swiss cheese knees earlier. Shout out Derrick Rose.
Oh, no.
He's there. Gigi Jackson II, John Concher, Santi Aldama, Brandon Clark.
Oh, yeah, I'm actually forgetting that.
See, also Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey, Derrick Rose, Vince Williams Jr., John Concher, Brandon Clark are all shown as day-to-day. So.
Not good.
I think end of last year, they had 13 players out for like 2 weeks straight at the end of last regular season.
I think I remember what you're talking about. They were fielding players like nobody had ever heard of before. They gave
Scottie Pippen Jr.
They gave Kenny Lofton, known MLB speedster. His kid came up and he actually played like well. Didn't he have like a 40-point performance? Am I tripping?
I think that was 2 seasons ago, though.
Was that 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Point stands though that he can randomly do it, but just I don't know. With that team is fully healthy, I feel like they're the biggest question mark in the West because I feel like we kind of have an idea. I mean, maybe the Lakers if LeBron's ever like, I kind of want to be good again. That'd be fun.
It's
Instead
not
of just
LeBron's fault that they're not good.
no, I'm not saying it's LeBron's fault. I'm just saying if LeBron wants to turn it on, he can turn it on. That's what I'm saying. Is that if he says, yeah, no, all of you get serious, we're doing this. I feel like he's letting them slide too much. He's got to tell them to get serious like it was when he controlled everything in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Lead GM needs to come back, threaten all of them with trades, and say, look, no more Darvin Ham.
Who do you think built this team? Who do you think built the Lakers?
Honestly, it's so bad that it looks like Rob Pelinka built it.
It does look like Rob Pelinka.
Honestly, this man, he does
my
nothing.
No wrong. My king can do no wrong.
D'Angelo Russell's still on the team.
He's still loading. It's okay. It's still loading.
Yeah.
The ice in his veins melted. It's this team is a joke.
They're not winning a championship unless Bronny is LeBron.
And
I mean, technically, he is LeBron James Jr. So
let him average 27.
I thought we agreed no more Bronny James. We almost got through another 40 minutes of the episode without it. Like we only had 15 minutes to go. Had to ruin it. Damn it.
What's your beef with Bronny?
Dude, it's just all the media coverage. He shouldn't have it. Like it's annoying. Like every single day, it's like I see what he's doing, and I'm like, dude, you're not doing well. So I don't care. I don't care. Like
last couple games though, you've been hooping.
He looked good in that last one. He shot like 5 for 6, had 12 points.
That's gonna be his career high.
That's crazy.
I'm trying to think of like other polarizing teams that like made like do you want to shit on the 76ers for a few minutes?
God, I would love to shit on the 76ers for a few minutes. Oh my God. That's like, dude, that is if a girl ever said that to me, I think I would propose on the spot. I think I would have found my wife if they ever say, hey, you know who really sucks? And I go, who? Joel Embiid. Yes. Right there on the spot. You're getting a wedding ring.
I honestly think that Tyrese Maxey is that team's best player.
Oh, 100%. 100%. My dad yelled at me because I started, I went ballistic. When we blew a 7-point lead with 30 seconds to go in the game because he hit a 3, and then he got a 4-point play, oh my God, my house sounded like it was a Vietnam War camp, dude. Everyone it just screams heard miles away. It was awful. Tyrese Maxey has that dog in him. He has that clutch gene. He is clutch. He steps up. Now, granted, Paul George is also, look, he's fragile. Did we all forget about Pandemic P? He is the opposite of clutch. He has a 12-minute compilation on YouTube of him getting a game winner shot over him.
This is a thing.
I'm hating the Paul George disrespect, but you know
I love Paul George. Paul George
it's not disrespect. It's just the overratedness of the player who's already 34 with massive injury history and no history of actually being a winner, like a legit winner at the highest level. Just like
it's just
doesn't do it for me.
It was that injury at was it 2014 Olympics? Or like the 2014 Olympic camp or whatever it was.
2012. Yeah.
2012. Was it 2012?
Was it 2016? Well, that would be the.
I thought it was like 2014, not like the official Olympics.
Paul George wasn't in the league in 2012.
That's what I thought.
He was drafted in 2011, but he wouldn't have been at the Olympic team in 2012. You're right. So maybe it was 2016.
I think 16 because he played a few seasons for the Pacers and they were really good. Him and Roy Hibbert, right?
Yeah.
Or was that Danny Granger and Roy Hibbert?
No, that was Hibbert. It was Jermaine O'Neal and Granger. It was Hibbert. It was Hibbert with him. I mean, that was the era of the East where everyone's like, dude, I don't care about the regular season. LeBron's just going to win it again. because that was the era with the 60-win Hawks led by
Joe Johnson.
No, not even. It was Jeff Teague,
Paul
podcaster, Kyle Korver, Paul Millsap, and him. Also, shout out the legend Kent Blaze some more. I love him. But
shout out too many legends who aren't actually legends.
Oh, absolutely. I love shouting out random role players.
You have like 2 legend shout outs per show. If you shout out anybody else, just don't call them a legend.
Well, they're legends because they're getting the shout out. I'm not going to give shout outs to non-legends. That's why
then you get 2 shout outs per show then. 2 shout outs per show.
I mean, Isaiah Thomas, when he was pound for pound the best scorer in the NBA in 2017, averaging 30 points per game at 5'9", that was him with Avery Bradley hitting that shot that hit the rim 8 times. He's an underrated legend. Kelly
Olynyk is a beast.
Amir Johnson.
I hate Kelly Olynyk, but carry on.
Why? No, I'm not going to carry on after you say that.
No. Let's not get into it.
Why? I want to know why.
We're going to get over an hour if that's not something.
Oh, dude. All right, fine. Then to start the show next week, we're going to find out why Jack hates Kelly Olynyk. All right?
That's the headline. Why does Jack hate Kelly Olynyk?
I'm making sure Nolan puts that as the title for the shows.
We can do that the whole hour.
Huh?
I'll write up a presentation on it.
Oh, is there really a whole whole thing behind it? Is there
you have graphs and statistics ready?
That's really not that deep.
No, you have a whole week to build it up. Now you could make something out of it.
I'm gonna do it now. Yeah.
Did he call you a turd? I hate Willie Snead, because he called me a loser because I jumped out of a car to get a photo of Lamar Jackson. In 2018, I jumped out of a car to get a photo of Lamar Jackson, and wide receiver Willie Snead said, "Oh my God, are you serious, dude?" I went, "Yeah." It's that's kind of a loser activity. I'm like, "All right, I'm 12. I don't know why you're saying this, but all right." Off topic. Anyway,
it's probably because you were a loser.
It probably was. Yeah. You want to see me in 2018? I'm not proud of it.
No, you probably look the same.
Come on, Tyler. Come on. Oh my God.
Just joking. I'm joking. Not really. I didn't know you back then. You probably, I don't know.
Oh, I was a nerd. It's okay. I was a loser. It's all right. But he doesn't get to be right about that. He didn't know. I was just
he
didn't know. But look, I mean, the final team, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this. It's bad timing because he's not here, but the Heat. Davinsky isn't here. Are the Heat even going to make the playoffs next year?
Yeah. They'll make the play-in game.
Weren't they an 8 seed this year?
No, they beat the Bulls again
in the play-in.
In the play-in.
They were a 9 seed.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean,
I think the same thing's going to happen again. They're going to play a team that thinks that they're good and want to be good, and then they're going to lose that game in horrible fashion. Then they're going to play the 1 seed again because Jimmy Butler doesn't care about the regular season. And then they'll probably, depending on who they play, if it's the Celtics or the Bucks, I think that those teams win if somebody else gets the 1 seed.
I mean, I feel like there's 8 better teams in the East, though.
Yeah, but there aren't 8 better coach teams in the East, though.
That is true. And I believe Orlando's on the come up, though. I think Orlando is going to be a good team next year. I could see them winning 55 games.
Whew.
I know. That's a flaming hot take. And it's especially for late. Look, I think Paolo Banchero is finally showing. He's a 20. I think at his peak, he can be a 28, 12 and 5 guy.
He's got to get better at 3-point shooting to get.
I think so. That's what I'm saying. At his absolute peak, he can be a consistent guy. I think Franz Wagner is an incredible second option. He can score the ball at will, it seems, except in Game 7 against the Cavs. He went 1 for 16, I think, or 0 for 16.
That sort of thing just happens.
Now you've got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who is a veteran presence. Point guard wise, you have Jalen Suggs, Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, and Anthony Black, I'm pretty sure. So that's 4 young Markelle Fultz. young guards who
No,
can like.
Markel Fultz is a really good, like, not a great scoring option.
I was
but
saying that about his age, not like
Yeah.
his skill talent as well.
Yeah, but his skill set is like he provides like a calmness to your offense. He like allows you to run it, and he's a good floor general type of player. I think. Honestly,
Marco
I had the Pacers trying to go after him because I thought like adding that sort of floor presence
Oh, you
behind.
mean like 2017 when you guys traded back?
What?
Are you talking about in 2017 when you guys traded back out of
No,
number one?
no, no. I was saying this offseason. He was
I don't know.
I was saying the Pacers should have went after him as like a backup option to Halliburton, so that like because I think he could have calmed down some of those turnovers that they had late in those games in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I agree. But I mean, look at that lineup. If you go Fultz, Caldwell Pope at the 2, then Wagner at the 3, Boncaro at the 4, Wendell Carter Jr., who I think is a little bit of an underrated center because he doesn't scream or anything, at the 5. And then off the bench, you have Cole Anthony and Anthony Black who can play those guard spots.
Jonathan Isaacs too is
Jonathan Isaac, who for 16 games a year is one of the best defenders in the NBA.
Yeah.
If they have an elite defender, like an elite defensive center, because Wendell Carter lacks defensively. He's a solid scorer, he can rebound, but he lacks defensively. I think that team could win 55 games. Maybe
they don't have that defensive center, so how are they going to
exactly.
So if they're winning 55 games, you're saying they're probably at least a 3 seed.
I could see that. I could see the East shaking out like Celtics, Knicks. I could see the Bucks and the Magic being interchangeable. And then at 5 and 6, I see the Sixers and the
Cavs?
Cavs. Yes, Cavs being interchangeable. Then under them would probably oh crap, I'm like blanking all the names. Not Detroit, definitely not Detroit, not Chicago, not the Nets. I mean, like
Charlotte, bro.
Dude, underrated. LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, everyone's underrated, by the way. Every single team in the NBA is either underrated or overrated. There's no probably rated here. But it's either LaMelo Ball, I thought they should have drafted Klingon, but instead they drafted, I bashed this guy. What's his name? Sijani?
Yeah, he's a foreign player.
I've never heard of his name before draft night. Never. I read a couple mock drafts. I don't even remember him. Like
Jack, what do you think on those teams? Like
I could see them being 7. I could see them being the 7 seed.
Like the Cavs, like the Hornets. Like what are you thinking like those?
The Hornets suck. They're a 13 seed.
Even if LaMelo's an all-star, 20 and 10 kind of guy.
I mean, Darius Garland's an all-star, but
Darius Garland is overrated.
I was actually going to touch on the Cavs. They could be a top 3 seed in the East too, I think.
If they're fully healthy with Evan Mobley and
Jared Allen.
Yeah, Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell. Yeah. I thought they were gonna like try and do something with Garland to try and improve their like wing defense there, but apparently not. They're gonna kind of roll with it. They didn't make any big splashes this offseason. I do think if they're healthy though, that's gonna be a good basketball team. Like they have like a decent, style.
I don't know if they're better than the Sixers. Everyone's
better than the Sixers.
I don't know if they're better than. I don't think they're better than Boston. I don't think they're better than New York. I don't think they're better than the Magic. I don't think they're better than the Bucks. I don't think they're better than who's that 5th team I said? Oh, I'm blanking now. It was a team I said that was interchangeable with the Sixers.
You said the Cavs.
Oh, we forgot the Pacers.
I don't think that either of those teams. I think that it's going to be the Celtics, the Bucks, the Pacers, the Magic.
Watch yourself.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. Not the Magic. The Knicks at 4, then the Magic at 5, then the Sixers at like 6 there, then probably Miami at 7 or 8.
Where's Cleveland though?
then Cleveland is right in there. Like you can put them anywhere between 5 and 8. I feel
think
like
the windows are so. That's the thing about the West compared to the East. The West has so many great teams, but the East has so many more
I don't think the East is bad.
I
Like
don't think
the East got a lot better recently over the last 2 years. I think the East has gotten a lot more challenging and difficult.
That's why we went back to the East versus West format. There was a reason we had to go to that draft. It's because the East was so bad compared to the West.
That draft was so piss poor too. Like East versus West, do it the right way. But that is our hour here. We talked about dethroning the Celtics. We talked about dark horse teams that could make a little bit of a playoff run, not win the chip, but surprise a lot of people on their way trying to do so. Then we talked about some teams who are kind of on the ledge in that play-in sort of spot. If you want to check it out again, go to our YouTube channel at Stadium Rant HQ, and the Putback will be there. We'll be here every single week at 7:30 on Fridays. I'm your host, Tyler, filling in for Nolan. We got Jack McKinnon and Dravin here. Dovseski. Hope you come back next week. I heard you're doing some traveling. Stay safe. You guys want to plug anything before we get out of here?
Just Dravin Murdy on all socials, right?
Here. Yeah, it's right there. It's right there to the left of him. Yeah. He can't point. Don't worry. No. Jack, you want to shout anything out?
No. Oh, my Instagram just my name with underscores. So yeah.
Word. All right. Go check out stadiumrant.com. Got tons of great articles and other stuff coming out. Check it out.
Adios, everyone.